When I saw the photo of Jessa holding baby number 6, my first instinct was to smile. She looks beautiful. She always does. But then I looked closer. I looked at Ben's face. I looked at the house. And my heart sank because I know that look. I know what it's like to have millions of people watching your life, thinking you are rich while you are quietly wondering how to pay for the next grocery run. I know what it's like to have a father who says, God will provide, while he sits on a pile of cash that you earned for him. Jessa is a fighter. She always has been. But 6 kids on a pastor's salary in 2026 without the TV show money, that isn't just faith, you guys. That is fear. I fear that my sister is trading her privacy for a paycheck because she has no other choice. I fear that she is back under Dad's thumb because he is the only one who can bail them out. They call it a blessing, but I know the cost of that blessing. And I think Jessa is paying a price she never agreed to. There is a specific Duggar smile. We were taught it before we could even talk. It's the smile that says, everything is perfect. We are blessed. We are happy. When I saw Jessa's post announcing baby number 6, she looked radiant. The baby looked like an angel. The comments were flooding in with congratulations. But I froze. I zoomed in on her eyes, and I felt this wave of familiarity. It was the same look I had in the bathroom mirror a few years ago when Derek and I were struggling to buy groceries, but I had to go film a scene about how abundant our life was. Jessa is tough. She's the strongest of all of us. She's the one who never let them see her cry. But 6 children in that small house with the show gone, I'm not saying she doesn't love her baby. Of course she does. We love every single one. But I know the panic that sets in at 300 a.m. when you realize another baby means another mouth to feed, another set of medical bills, another car seat you can't really afford. The world sees a blessing. I see a sister who might be drowning. She's been trained so well that she's smiling while the water rises. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, money. Growing up, we never talked about money. Dad handled it. We just trusted that God would provide. But when I got out, when Derek and I had to pay our own hospital bills, I learned real fast that faith doesn't pay the electric company. Ben is a pastor, and that is a beautiful calling. I respect him so much for it, but I also know what small town pastors make in Arkansas. It isn't a fortune. It's barely enough for a family of 4, let alone a family of 8. People think, oh, they are famous. No, they don't. Dad made the millions. We got leftovers. And now that the show is over, those residual checks aren't coming in like they used to. I look at Jessa's life and I do the math in my head. Diapers for 2 kids, homeschool supplies for 3, food for 8 people. Inflation. Unless Jessa is bringing in a massive income from YouTube, which is so unstable, believe me, I don't know how they are doing it. And that scares me because when you are desperate for money in our family, there is only one bank. You can go to the bank of Jim Bob, and his loans always come with strings attached. I've seen the comments. People calling Jessa a grifter. People saying she only gets pregnant to boost her YouTube views. That hurts to read, but I also understand why people think that when your privacy is the only currency you have left, you spend it. I remember the pressure. When you have a camera in your face, you get paid. When the camera turns off, the money stops. Jessa knows this game better than anyone. She knows that a baby announcement video gets 500 Seewalds and views. She knows a birth story gets 1 million. It breaks my heart to think that maybe, just maybe, she feels like she has to share these intimate moments just to pay the mortgage. Imagine having a newborn, you're exhausted, you're bleeding, you're emotional, but you have to pick up a camera and edit a vlog because if you don't, the bills don't get paid. That isn't greed, that's survival. I walked away from that life because the cost was too high for my soul. But Jessa stayed, and now with 6 kids, she can't just walk away. Is the content machine now. Her children are the content. And once you start that machine, it is terrifyingly hard to turn it off. Do you guys remember when they moved? They bought that fixer upper church house. It seemed like such a fun project, Chip and Joanna Gaines' style. But anyone who has ever renovated a house knows that it always costs double what you think. Derek and I have talked about this. We saw the mold issues. We saw the structural stuff. That renovation likely drained whatever savings they had from the counting on days, and now they are stuck. They can't sell it easily because the market is weird. They can't move because where would they go with 8 people? I see Jessa trying to make it look cozy and perfect on Instagram, and she's great at design, but I wonder if that house feels like a home or if it feels like a cage with a mortgage they are struggling to cover. When you are stressed about your house, the roof leaking, the AC breaking, it affects your marriage, it affects your parenting, and adding a newborn into a construction zone, I just pray she is a quiet corner to retreat to. But knowing Jessa, she's probably painting the nursery herself at midnight because they can't afford to hire a painter. I worry about Jessa. Obviously, she's my sister, but I also worry about Ben. In our culture, the IBLP culture, the man is the provider, capital P. If he cannot feed his family, he is seen as a failure. He is seen as less of a man. Ben was so young when he married Jessa. He was a kid. He walked into this massive, famous family, and suddenly he was Jessa Duggar's husband. Now he has 6 souls depending on him. 6 little humans looking at him for everything. I've seen recent photos of Ben. He looks tired, not just new dad, tired. Soul tired? Is he feeling the weight of the world? Is he feeling guilty that his wife has to hustle on the internet to make ends meet? My dad puts a lot of pressure on the sons-in-law to be successful, but only in the way he defines success. If Ben is struggling, he probably feels like he can't say anything because admitting you need help is admitting defeat. I hope Ben has friends outside the circle. I hope he has someone to talk to because carrying the burden of the provider when the bank account is low, that can crush a marriage faster than anything else. Growing up, food was complicated. We never went hungry, but we ate cheap. Canned soup, tater tots, white bread, quantity over quality. It was about filling stomachs for the lowest price possible. I look at Jess's family now 8 people. And I look at grocery prices in 2026. I honestly don't know how she does it, even with Aldi runs and buying in bulk. Feeding 8 people healthy food is a mortgage payment in itself. I've noticed in her vlogs, she cooks a lot of the same things we grew up on. Heavy pastas, casseroles, things that stretch. But here is the difference. Dad had a commercial kitchen and wholesale accounts. Jessa has a regular kitchen and a pastor's salary. I worry that the stress of just putting dinner on the table is eating her alive. I remember Mom being so exhausted by the logistics of mealtime that she would just check out mentally. Is Jessa there yet? Is she skipping meals herself so the kids can have seconds? That's a Duggar mom trait. Martyrdom at the dinner table. And it's heartbreaking to watch history repeat itself. We have to talk about the births. You guys know my story. I tried the home birth thing. It was dangerous. It almost cost me everything. Derek and I eventually chose hospitals because safety matters more than saving a few $1,000s. But for Jessa, home birth isn't just a preference, it's a financial strategy. Hospital births in America are expensive. Even with insurance, the deductibles for a family of 8 are insane. A home birth with a lay midwife costs a fraction of a hospital stay. I hold my breath every time Jessa goes into labor. I pray, please just go to the hospital if something feels wrong. But I also know the voice in her head, the voice that says, we can't afford a 10,000 bill. I have to push through. It makes me angry that money might be dictating her medical choices. No woman should have to risk her life because her bank account is empty. If they are choosing home birth solely to save cash, they are playing Russian roulette with their lives. And with baby number 6, the risks only go up. This is the part that keeps me up at night. The bailout. If Ben and Jessa are truly struggling, and the math says they are, there is only one person who can save them. Dad. But Dad doesn't give gifts. He makes investments. If Jim Bob paid for their house renovation, or if he bought them a new van for the baby, he didn't do it out of the kindness of his heart. He did it to buy their loyalty. I know how this works. I lived it. I'll pay off your debt, but you have to film this special. I'll buy the groceries, but you have to come to the big house for every holiday. I'll help you, but you can never speak out against me. If Jessa took money from him, she is back in the cage. She might be living in a separate house, but if he holds the deed or the debt, he owns her schedule. He owns her voice. It creates a cycle of dependency. You can never really grow up, never really stand on your own 2 feet, because the second you stumble, he catches you and then he handcuffs you. Have you noticed the kids' clothes? They always look cute, perfectly coordinated, but with 6 kids growing like weeds, keeping them in matching outfits is impossible on a budget unless you have a strategy. We used to have the warehouse, the massive closet of hand-me-downs. Jessa is the queen of the thrift store. She's amazing at finding deals. But there is another side to it now, sponsorships. I see Jessa tagging clothing brands. Thank you, brand name via the outfits, yeah, to some that looks like a perk. To me, it looks like work. It means her kids can't just put on a t-shirt and play in the mud. They have to put on the sponsored outfit, stand in the right light, smile for the camera, and earn their clothes. Turns their childhood into a transaction. You get new shoes if you smile for mommy's video. I want my nieces and nephews to just be kids. I don't want them to feel like they have to perform to be clothed. But when money is tight, every post becomes a commercial and every child becomes a model. It steals their innocence. One sponsored post at a time. Ben and Jessa are homeschooling. Of course they are. Public school is free, but in our world, it's worldly. But homeschooling costs money too. Good curriculum is expensive. Tutors are expensive. Field trips cost gas money. And more than money, it costs time. How is Jessa teaching 5 children, different grades, different needs, while nursing a newborn? It is physically impossible to do it well without help. I worry that the education is suffering. Worry they are relying on the older kids to teach the younger ones, just like we did. That's not school, that's babysitting. If they can't afford a tutor and Jessa is exhausted, who is teaching them math? Who is teaching them history? Derek and I sent our kids to public school because we wanted them to have opportunities we didn't. We wanted them to have certified teachers. I fear Jessa's kids are getting the economy version of education because they can't afford the alternative and they aren't allowed to use the free public option. It's a trap that keeps the next generation poor and dependent. And that is the tragedy of it all. I look at Spurgeon and I see a little man. He is 10 years old now. In a normal family, 10 is a child. You play video games, you ride bikes, you forget to brush your teeth. But in a family of 8 with a new baby and struggling parents, 10 is an adult. I worry that Spurgeon is becoming the third parent. I saw it happen with my older brothers. I saw it happen with Jana. When mom and dad are overwhelmed, the oldest child steps in. They change diapers, they settle arguments, they sacrifice their childhood to keep the peace. If Jessa is busy with the baby and Ben is busy with church, who is raising the middle kids? Spurgeon. He seems so well behaved, so mature. But mature at 10 often just means burdened. I hope he isn't carrying the weight of his parents' choices. I hope he doesn't feel the financial stress. Kids are sponges. They know when mom and dad are worried about money. If he's hearing them argue about bills, that anxiety settles in his bones. I don't want him to grow up thinking his job is to save the family. Can we talk about Ben for a second? The real Ben. When I first met him, he had dreams. He was young. He was into music. He wanted to do inner city ministry. He had a spark. Now, I look at him and I see a man who is surviving, not thriving. Being a pastor is hard work. It's emotional labor. You carry the burdens of your congregation. And then he comes home to a house that is loud, chaotic, and demanding. Wonder if he feels trapped, not by Jessa, but by the circumstances. He can't quit his job because they need the money. He can't pursue his old hobbies because he has 6 kids. He can't move because they are tied to the house. There is a look in his eyes in the recent videos, a kind of resignation. He smiles when the camera is on, but the second Jessa looks away, his face drops. If Ben is suffering from depression or burnout, Does he have the space to deal with it? In our circles, men aren't supposed to be depressed. They're supposed to be strong. I fear he is burying his pain deep down just to keep the ship afloat. And that is a ticking time bomb. People forget how jarring it is to lose a TV income. When we were filming Counting On, the money just appeared. It was easy money. You sit on a couch, you answer a few questions, and the check clears. It gives you a false sense of security. You think it will last forever, but when it stops, it's like falling off a cliff. Jessa and Ben built their life around that income. They had kids assuming that money would always be there. And now that it's gone, the lifestyle hasn't scaled down enough to match the new reality. They are trying to replace TLC money with YouTube money. But YouTube is a grind. You have to film everything. You have to edit until 2 a.m. You have to deal with the algorithm. I think they are exhausted by the hustle. They are working 10 times harder for half the money they used to make. And every time a video doesn't get 1 million views, I bet there is panic in the pit of their stomachs. How will we pay the mortgage this month? That kind of instability is traumatizing. Jessa posts these date night photos. Usually it's them grabbing coffee or sitting in the car. Fans comment, couple goals or keeping the romance alive. But I see something else. I see 2 parents who are desperate to escape their house for 5 minutes of silence. And notice they rarely go anywhere expensive anymore. It's not fancy dinners. It's cheap coffee runs. It's walks in the park. There is nothing wrong with cheap dates. Derek and I love them. But when every date is a budget date, it tells a story. It tells me they are pinching pennies. And are they actually connecting? Or are they just sitting in the car, staring at their phones, too tired to talk? I remember the pressure to make it look like we had a perfect marriage for the cameras. Look, we are so in love, but behind the scenes, you are just trying to survive the day. I hope Jessa and Ben are actually finding comfort in each other and not just performing date night to convince the internet and themselves that everything is fine. Here is my prediction. And I say this with love and with fear. A crash is coming. You cannot raise 6 kids, homeschool, renovate a house, work a full-time ministry job, and run a YouTube channel on a shoestring budget forever. Something has to give. Usually, it's your health. We saw it with Mom. She ran herself ragged until she just couldn't anymore. She checked out emotionally. I worry Jessa is heading for a physical or mental collapse. The adrenal fatigue must be off the charts. You can only drink so much coffee. You can only pray for strength so many times before your body says enough. If Jessa crashes, the whole system falls apart. Ben can't do it alone. The kids can't do it. They are sprinting a marathon. And right now, they are still running. But I can see the stumbling. I can see the exhaustion. And I just pray that when they finally stop running, there is someone there to catch them, someone who isn't holding a camera. The thing that scares me the most isn't the money, it's the cycle. I watch Ivy. She's getting older. She's the oldest girl. In the Duggar playbook, the oldest girl is the designated assistant mom. I was 1. Jana was 1. Jessa was 1. We didn't get to play with dolls. We took care of living, breathing babies. I see Jessa overwhelmed. And what happened to know the temptation is there to hand the baby to Ivy. Just hold him for a second. Just change this diaper. It starts small, but soon Ivy isn't just helping, she's raising. I don't want that for my niece. I want Ivy to worry about her coloring books, not whether the baby is fed. I want her to have a childhood that belongs to her, not to the family nursery. If Jessa and Ben are too outnumbered to handle the kids themselves, as the kids will inevitably start raising each other. And that is a theft. It steals their youth. I'm still working through the trauma of being a sister mom at 10 years old. Pray Jessa stops the cycle before Ivy inherits that burden. When I left the show, and what happened in my life, and I thought maybe the grip was loosening. I thought maybe my siblings would find their own way. Looking at Jessa's situation, I feel like Dad is winning. He designed a system where we couldn't succeed without him. He didn't give us real educations. He didn't let us have real jobs. He made sure we married young and had kids fast, so we would be financially drowning before we even learned to swim. Jessa is right where he wants her. Dependent, overwhelmed, needing him. If she has to ask him for help, he gets to call the shots. He gets to decide where they go to church. He gets to decide what they film. It makes me angry. It makes me want to scream because Jessa is smart. She is capable, but the system was rigged against her from the start. It's hard to pull yourself up by your bootstraps when you were never given boots. So what is the verdict? Is Jessa happy, or is she in crisis? I think it's both. I think she loves her kids fiercely. She finds joy in those little moments, the baby smiles, the milestones. That love is real. But I also think she is in a crisis of logistics. The math doesn't work. The energy levels don't work. The finances don't work. You can be happy and drowning at the same time. You can love your life and be terrified of the future. I think Jessa is surviving on adrenaline and faith right now. But adrenaline runs out, and faith, faith is good, but faith needs a foundation. And right now, their foundation looks cracked. I don't judge her. I ache for her. I wish I could just drive over there, take the baby, hand her a credit card and say, go sleep for a week. I got this. But I can't because the walls between us are too high. Ooh, Jessa, if you ever watch this, I just want you to know something. You don't have to be Superwoman. You don't have to pretend everything is perfect. You don't have to film a vlog when you're crying. You don't have to have it all together. It is okay to say, I'm tired. It is okay to say, we need help. It is okay to stop having kids if your body and your bank account need a break. You are worthy of love even if you aren't productive. You are worthy of rest. Know the pressure you feel to protect the family name. I felt it too. But the name isn't worth your sanity. You are my sister first and of Duggar second. Please just take care of you. And to you guys watching, thank you for caring about my family, even the messy parts. It's easy to look at the photos and judge. It's easy to say, why did they have another one? But remember, behind every clickbait title and every Instagram post, there are real people trying to figure out life in a fishbowl. I want to know what you think. Do you think Jessa and Ben can make this work on their own? Or do you think Jim Bob is pulling the strings again? Let me know in the comments, and please be kind. Jessa reads the comments. Ben reads them. They are parents doing their best in a really hard situation. If you want to support them, maybe just watch their videos without ad blocker today. Every penny counts when you have 6 kids. I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, stay free, and love your families. Bye.